Welcome back, Tribe. Got a video here saying the job market in America is collapsing. Let's get into it.
Let me tell you how bad the job market is right now. I got laid off about 36 days ago. Probably 200 applications in. Out of that, probably 25 rejection letters. Signed up at Walmart for a job. Signed at the local Publix, my grocery store, for a job. No interviews, no contacts. Out of all the applications I put in, I've had 2 interviews. Been ghosted probably 15 times. Then I decided, well, you know what? I'll do DoorDash. Went to do DoorDash. Couldn't get on in the area. Your zone is full. Can't even do DoorDash.
Damn.
That's how bad it is. I've been aged out 36 days. This is the longest I've ever been without a job ever in my life. 23 years in the military, master's degree, bachelor's, tons of experience. Can't find anything.
I'm a recruiter and I work in the life sciences industry. I posted a position yesterday on LinkedIn for a data scientist role. The role's remote. It filters out anyone that doesn't live in the U.S., has knockout questions for people just to make sure that they meet the qualifications for the role. So active applications, I log in today, over 600. Taking a look through all of the applications, every single person is qualified. I have to go through and reject over 600 people for a job that these people probably well deserve because our market is crashing. I've never seen anything like this in the 11 years that I've been recruiting.
And they'll gaslight you into saying everything's fine. By the way, I found some interesting information. There's a bunch of threads that if you start to piece together, you will start to understand what's actually happening. So in multiple sectors, things are bad. U.S. dollar has now lost 10% of its value this year alone. That's one. Sherwin-Williams, if you know, it's a huge painting company, probably the largest in the United States, if not the top 2 spot. And they suspend 401k matching amid weak sales. Another one, searches for help with mortgage surpassed 2008 housing crisis. And we've had another one here recently with the bond market, where the 3-month Treasury yield recently surpassed a long-term resistance trend line that's visible on the graph I looked at from year 2020. So this hasn't happened since 2020. Basically, what happened in 2020 when this exact technical happened on the chart, higher borrowing cost, short-term yields rise faster than the long-term ones. So think increased interest rates on absolutely everything, more expensive to borrow. We're going to head into a market already. We're already there, but we're being gaslit. As today marks a high in the S&P 500, by the way, an all-time high. I just checked that as well. Stocks, companies in general, are doing extremely well, posting the so-called record profits that they're having. But on Main Street, the average American is well underwater right now. It has not been this hard, not even in 2008, 2009. Not only are there no jobs, but the unaffordability of things are out of control. We have record numbers of people that are going to default on their mortgage. We have record peoples that are already in credit card debt and defaulting. We have record numbers of debt that people are carrying. Car prices, the cost of those as a record high with also record levels of delinquencies. And now I just saw that Trump wants to get rid of quarterly reporting and go to biannually report, which is fine because Europe does the same thing. And people are on the side of this just means that he doesn't want companies to report as often, but that's not what that is. He's just going in line with what Europe's already done, biannual. Yes, quarterly reports do have more transparency, but it does change the culture of a company where they're constantly reporting the quarterly earnings to get a good price. So they're short-term thinking more than long-term thinking. This has broader implications and not as important as what's actually happening on the ground in Main Street America for the average American. Everyone's struggling, and you're being told the economy hasn't been better. China has not bought $1 of soy yet. We have an extremely delicate situation happening with our farmers in the United States. China was purchasing billions of dollars of soy this same time last year. This year with the trade wars, 0. Our farmers are starving to death. I believe it's Soren soy and corn or just soy. Guys, when you start to piece together, and these are just a sliver of what I've been seeing, all these represent a small puzzle piece that forms the broader picture. When fully completed, we are headed for rapidly so. There won't be any narrative that you could possibly spin on this. And I just forgot 900 almost 1 million jobs were revised downwards as of very recently. I believe it says the change from April 24 to March 25 was the biggest revision on record. New BLS data shows we lost 1 million jobs that we were told we created. We have not had a revision downward of this magnitude. This is a record one. It surpasses 2008 and 2009, where we had a revision down 800,000 jobs. We've surpassed that with 900 plus thousand jobs revision downward. These pieces of this puzzle tell us that we are in for a far greater than a great recession on the horizon. I'm telling you, start hoarding your cash. Start investing in whatever assets you have, gold, not financial advice. This is what I would do personally, because I can't tell you that. But you really do need to prepare for potential worst case scenarios like stagflation, where we have persistently high inflation, persistently low, stubbornly low jobs, coupled with the fact that the purchasing power is going to erase from everybody. And you have the most of the productivity and income from, say, AI and stuff like that going to the top percentile. We're going to have a 2-tier bifurcated economy where the average person is going to be struggling and falling behind rapidly. And the few percentile at the top will be enriched massively. It's coming. That whole funny shtick of you will owe nothing and be happening and be happy is happening right now. Actually, right now, millions of Americans are feeling it today. And you're being gaslit and being told that everything's fine. Just look around. The country's doing better than ever. We're not. I'll end the ranting and let them speak.
The job market is awful right now.
Man, it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I wanted to actually come on here and post a video, but I'm really at the end of my rope and I'm not sure what else to do. So a little bit of backstory. I worked as a director of client delivery and also a director of operations at a Fortune 15 organization for the last 2 years. Before that, I was a director of operations at a different company. So I've worked really hard. I have 3 degrees. I have an MBA. Worked really hard throughout my life to get into corporate America and rise through the ranks and do a really good job. Loved my job, was at a great organization, but corporate America, and I was laid off with 136 of my colleagues back in November of 2024. I knew the job market was brutal. I didn't realize it was this brutal. I still have not found employment. I've applied to well over 300 jobs. I've had some interviews. I get to final rounds. It's always somebody else that they go with. So I know that it's not my experience. It's just someone maybe that has more experience than I do. I don't know. But I'm at the point where I've exhausted everything. I'm a single parent, so I'm the only earner. I have exhausted my severance package. I've exhausted my savings. I've exhausted my Fidelity accounts, all of my stock. Everything's gone. I'm down to the last bit to get me through the next few weeks. On top of it, my landlord has told me that he is selling the house that I rent from him that I've been in for the last 3 years.
Of course.
He's selling that at the end of my lease, which is up at the end of August. So if you know anything about renting, you can't go get a new place if you can't show proof of employment. So I'm at a loss. I'm not really sure what to do.
I got a job offer for a place, a tanning salon, a managerial position, right? Required my bachelor's degree. I was like, yeah, of course. This is good. I'll be working with, different environment. I like, makeup, blah, blah, blah. $14 an hour. $14 an hour. What? I wouldn't have been able to eat with $14 an hour. Like, It required my bachelor's degree. I went to the interview. I almost took the job, honestly, but I didn't. I said I would rather be unemployed. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And this is a tanning salon that is very well known. I'm pretty sure it's in every state. It is so baffling that they're paying their people like that, especially how overpriced their shit is.
So I just came out of the City of Burbank job fair and media expo where there were no jobs available. It was about 2,000 people, including me, holding resumes and a bunch of tents of people, I guess, promoting their businesses, I guess. And no one was hiring at all, including the company that just laid me off. There were about 100 people in line to talk to them. And then there was just like a lady from there being like, if you're trying to drop off a resume, just go online. It's all online. I talked to a lady from the Burbank Library. She's like, we're here to answer questions about the library. And I was like, okay, are you guys hiring? And she was like, I don't know, go online. Anyway, it was awful and demoralizing. But I did it. I gave it a try. I can say I tried. Do better, City of Burbank. There are a lot of people out there looking for jobs right now. And I think I was not the only one who expected there to be some people hiring at the job fair.
I'm to the point, I miss the days when you had to just go into a physical location, fill out an application, and you had one interview, you sat down, you talked to the freaking owner of the business, and at the end of it, you were offered a job or you were told no. I mean, I miss those days. Why in the flying do we have, why is it the way that it is today? I mean, two interviews and the questions that are asked. My goodness, I have never been asked such stupid ass questions in my entire life. The lady literally asked me, "Are you kind?" What the fuck? How does like what the fuck? How does I don't understand. I'm going crazy. Like, are you guys hiring or not? Just it's that simple. I'm fed up. I'm fed up, and I know I cannot be the only one fed up with the job market and how things are operating today. It's just,
you guys, the job market is literally insane right now because I have used every single connection I have made since starting my professional career, even like college connections. I have messaged every single person that I can possibly think of. I've emailed recruiters that I've talked to years ago about jobs at like previous companies that I was interviewing for.
It was crazy seeing this and seeing that we're going to send another $3+ billion to Israel to, for their armament stockpile. It's crazy that we're spending so much money overseas on shit that does not involve Americans day to day. We are funding wars, proxy wars. We're funding a bunch of stupid shit, and our Pentagon budget has increased. Our budget for the government has increased. We have another omnibus bill that's being worked on because we need to increase the budget again, the debt ceiling, guys. It keeps going up. We keep spending more of this magical money. Is it a surprise to you that 10% of the dollar's value was taken off the top this year alone? Yeah. Do you want to know where your purchasing power is going? Ask the next time Republicans and Democrats vote for a bill that increases the fucking debt ceiling. Okay. They're turning this paper into shit. It will not be worth toilet paper soon. That's how insane this is. And then other countries around the world, including the bond market, all the bond investors are going to look and go, can America really pay back its debt, or is this out of control? Are we swirling the drain? In that case, they're going to ask for higher interest rates in order to park their money and buy government bonds. Well, if nobody buys our bonds, how are we going to pay for anything? How are we going to raise capital? When investors lose confidence in the United States of America, okay, the average American's life gets exponentially harder, quicker. We enjoy fairly low interest rates, low taxes, high credit rating, and Americans have been in essentially a golden period, a golden age where produce, manufacturing, everything has been imported for cheap with extremely high buying power that Americans have pretty much enjoyed for decades now has evaporated rapidly. It's insane, bro. Go ahead, send more billions, hundreds of billions of dollars overseas. Go ahead, please. They're going to sell us on that shit. Who's going to need more hundreds of billions? We're working, paying taxes, and you can't escape this, bro. If you go overseas, you can't escape it. You must pay taxes every single year to the IRS, no matter where you are. For what? Where's my money going?
I've even cold emailed recruiters that I found like on LinkedIn, and I'm like, I don't know what is going on here, but I can't even get like an initial interview and I'll be extremely qualified for the job or even qualified for the job. And I'm like that desperate. I'm just like, I think people are preying on the fact that we're all that desperate. I don't know what to do. Every time I apply for something, I make sure my resume is fully tailored to that job. I make sure there's keywords in there that match the job description perfectly. And I literally, even I'll have like initial phone calls with people and they'll be like, don't worry, like if we proceed or don't proceed, we'll let you know otherwise. We won't ghost you. They've all ghosted me. I'm like, don't even tell me that. And then another company I was interviewing for, it was like an initial HR interview. She was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to get you in front of the team, yada, yada. And I followed up with her like a week later when she said she would get back to me. And when I emailed her a couple hours later, I got an automated response saying they are moving forward with other candidates that are more like the experience is more closely aligned to what they're looking for. I'm like, what are you looking for then? How are people finding jobs unless they're taking jobs that have crap pay and are just sticking it out and have multiple jobs?
What do you think the 20 million undocumented migrants are doing? What do you think is happening there?
I don't know.
I got laid off from my corporate job yesterday. And I think that this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now, and it needs to be shared because America's...
Look, dude, we imported 20 million people that are taking the bottom low-skilled jobs, all of them. And then we're importing millions with H-1Bs that are taking all the skilled jobs away from Americans. They're suppressing wages because the companies know they're taking advantage of these people. And it's like a modern serf where you bring these people in and they're not allowed to leave. Or if they do leave your company, they lose out on their H-1B visa and forced to return home. So they don't complain. They don't ask for higher wages. They can't because they're beholden to the companies that sponsor their visa. So instead of you getting paid, say, $200,000 a year as a software engineer, you're only going to get $95,000. Why? Because you have to compete with an H-1B visa guy that will take the 95 or lower, 80. And so we don't even have a market that's pricing in properly what labor should be paying out due to its real demand. Its demand has been artificially lowered through H-1B importation. So now we have suppressed wages. It's synthetic. It's not real. The real market would never allow something like a software engineer that's working on the higher and not Code Monkey to be earning anything less than $200,000. Yet their salaries for like 65, 75, and then they'll sweep in H-1Bs, gang of them, dozens of them for one company's department. It's insane, dude.
It's not doing well right now. We have a 94% prediction rate that the recession is going to come, but yet our frickin' administration hasn't even made the move to actually say that a recession is coming. And let's actually call it what it is, a depression. People can't afford groceries. They can't afford rent. They can't afford buying houses. They can't afford having babies. They can't afford having the kids in general if they already have them. We are not in a good spot, y'all. I know that I'm just a number in a company, but I thought I was okay. You're going to think that you're okay because you've worked there for so long or you have the right experience. Like, you guys, I have an undergraduate in marketing, a master's in business, 6 years of paid social media experience, both on a strategist and manager level. I have done people management for at least 3 years. I'm a senior level in my career. And yet, when I was hired to do a senior level role, I was forced into entry level positions. I was doing entry-level work as a senior-level strategist, all while at the same time being asked to reduce my workload with AI, and our team was having layoffs every 3 months.
Boom.
I should have seen it coming. I really should have. But the thing is that it was not something that I saw coming, because the day before that they laid me off, I was literally talking coverage plans with another employee who was going on leave for months. How am I supposed to sit there and not think that I'm safe in that moment? I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that we live in a world like this where my manager wasn't even the one that fired me, by the way, or laid me off. It was freaking HR, and they read off a script. But my whole team got laid off.
And this is the reality for a lot of Americans right now. My partner is a first responder, so I'm very lucky for the fact that I can be leaning on him for support right now, because luckily his job is secure, thanks to the fact that, number one, his job is essential, and number two, he has a union behind him. What I will never understand is why corporate agencies have not unionized. We're not allowed, right? We're not allowed. That's part of it. We'll get fired because, at least in this corporate world, they're always going to side on the side of business because that's what's making the government money. This world right now is not supporting people. It is supporting business. You are just a number, unfortunately. So please prepare yourself for shit like this. I wish I would have. I wish I'd been applying to other jobs months ago. I just was so dumb to not realize the signs. I want to talk about it. I think people need to talk about it. I think we need to make this more public. We all saw the jobs report. It was awful. Getting laid off on the day that the jobs report goes out, and it's 22,000 instead of 75,000 new jobs. You know how discouraging that is?
News came out today that there are more unemployed people in America than there are job offerings or job openings. So we are inherently cooked. I know for myself that I've already been applying for jobs, and I've applied for over 1,000 jobs already in the last few months. I've had interviews that have led to nowhere. I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a technical degree, and I still can't get or break into the tech world, which is in shambles right now. But I know that it has to be more than just like, oh, like I'm making a career switch and I'm just like not like, I don't have a lot of experience under my belt when it comes to tech, right? It has to be a little bit more than that. And I honestly do believe that something is brewing, something, it's awful.
A Great Depression.
Savings. I had some severance to hold us over for a few months. And that is running out. I have been interviewing. I've been applying for jobs. Like, it is literally my part-time job right now to find a job. I've had interviews. I haven't had any offers. Certainly not any offers for remote work. I've had interviews for in-person work, but they pay significantly lower. Like
Dude, these wages are ass. They're asking you for an arm and a leg while giving you nothing but lint in your pocket. And then they tell you to be happy. Be grateful that we're turning you into a modern serf. Honestly, the serfs were doing way better. They were only giving up, what was it, 15%? 20% max of their entire crop earnings for the year. And they only worked like once or twice a year. And then they had the rest of the year off. You're slaving away day in and day out, sometimes for weekends, overtime that they don't want to pay for. Or you're forced to have a second job in the so-called gig economy. And in the so-called gig economy, those jobs aren't even real jobs because you don't get any health insurance, which millions of Americans depend on, health insurance from work. So can you imagine if you have any form of ailment that requires like chronic care and you lose your job, you are double fucked in this country. So, dude, people, I mean, I don't know what to say. Aside from, I'm seeing people try to take the little savings that they have. They're buying land in the middle of nowhere and plopping a trailer down, and that's how they're going to live. They bought a small plot of land for next to nothing, like $10,000. Get a couple acres here and there, and then you just buy a trailer or a mobile home, something like of that fashion, plop it there, and that's how you live. Because rent has gotten out of control, housing has gotten out of control. You can't do it anymore. A solar cell, Starlink, and one of those batteries, and you're good to go in your mobile home. So I think more and more Americans are going to start heading down that route. It's just, it's not a doom kind of video where it's like, oh, say something good about the economy. Bro, where are you fucking living? Where shit is good. Any business owner with a good business will tell you business was slow. Just talk to a dude here in Croatia where he's like renting out these villas and stuff, and he says the slowest season he's ever had. Talked to a dude in Phoenix like a month or so ago. That was the slowest season he's ever seen. Internationally, it's shit. Business is shit. For guys that are doing construction, it's shit. The materials are extremely expensive. Half of them you can't even get because logistical problems. And starting up costs are out of control for a lot of people. They can't even start projects or finish them. They remain unfinished. Are you kidding me? The forests were shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe. That's beautiful. For the axe was clever and convinced the trees that because its handle was made of wood, it was one of them. I'll leave you guys with that one. You know, we do have elections coming up in the next couple of years, as well as careful who you vote for. You know, you may not care about politics, but politics do care about you, which is why we're in the situation today. It'd be nice to be able to say you could be left alone and you don't need to care about politics and you just live your life, but that's become increasingly impossible for everyone. Take care of yourselves.